Well, good evening and welcome, and want to thank you so much for joining me this evening, this Saturday night, Saturday the 21st of the 12th, 2024, 21st of the 12th, which is 4 days before Christmas, four sleeps before Christmas. I want to thank those who are joining me on TikTok, those who are joining me on Facebook, and those who are joining me on YouTube tonight, and also on Instagram, also on Instagram. Uh, Tonight, I want to talk about the empowerment of vulnerable groups in Jamaica with Miss Carla Gullotta. Carla Gullotta. She's going to be my guest tonight, and and of course the focus is on Jamaica, but at the same time, there are so many things which are happening around the world. One of the things which are happening around the world, and I don't know if it has happened as yet, is the Prime Minister of Canada. I don't know if he has resigned already. If anybody can say if he has resigned yet, but there are some developments there. I was speaking to a colleague, Miss Jeanette Calder, who is presently in that part of the world, and she said she needs to bring jam there as well, which is very interesting. As a matter of fact, I want to invite you to my join me on my podcast, which is Dialogue That Matters, whereby you'll have some sort of discussion which is going on there now with Rosalie Hamilton, Professor Rosalie Hamilton, and also Dialogue That Matters with Miss Jeanette Calder as well. These are some very important discussions which I've had for some time, but I realized that needed to repackage them and to sort of give them some sort of impetus at the same time. There's some very interesting developments which is happening in Jamaica, I must say. Very interesting development, and I can see it all over the place. And what is happening there is the director of public prosecution, Miss Paula Llewellyn. Paula Llewellyn has been there's a case whereby she was barred from actually practicing because of some rigmarole regarding the Constitution, which I'm not too sure of, and I won't get into it. But it seems to be that some are happy about it and some are not happy about it. But one of the things about those who are happy about it are those maybe who are aligned with the PNP, those who are not aligned with the JLP. Those who are not happy about it are those which are aligned with the JLP. But at the same time, it is a position whereby you're appointed and it is not one which is elected. I believe that where the constitution reform, something of that nature need to be maybe elected. And and it is the same thing which I'm seeing in different aspects of Jamaica, whereby the the political donemanship and the political alliance, takes the cake. Someone said there's head spins going around, but one is actually not focused on the salient issues of the day, but it has been politicized in many different respects. The IC Commission is Integrated Commission is an institution which is there to sort of regulate and to challenge the political um, individuals to make sure that their statutory declaration is clear. But now you're seen in a way there is, if you are challenging the government or so, you are PNP. If and that is the thing which is happening. PNP and JLP, and therefore, where is that balance? But at the same time, I just realized that one has got to somehow come out of that sort of head spin, come out of that sort of pinnacle, and sometimes you got to reach into um, other issues which are so crucial and important. And like tonight, I'm going to be talking to Miss Carla Gullotta on Stand Up Jamaica. I'm just going to keep it real and deal with some salient issues on the ground. But at the same time, this is Talking Sip Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, um, what are you drinking? Tonight, um, I'm having tea. Yeah, I'm having a cup of tea, I'm trying to say. um, and it says, "Be still and know that I'm God." That is what the cup says. Be still and know that I'm God. I got that from my wife for one Christmas. Be still and know that I am God. That's the tea. And of course, I have some water there, because it's Christmas coming soon, and therefore you have to get ready for that. But anyway, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, um, you know, in the heart of Jamaica, right, where hope wrestles with systematic challenges, Stand Up for Jamaica emerges as a beacon of transformation. And I'm going to be joined, as I said tonight, with Carla Gullotta, a woman who didn't just dream of change, she became the change. From the vibrant landscapes of Italy to the resilient streets of Jamaica, Gullotta's journey is a testament to the power of human rights. Her organization isn't just an NGO, it's a lifeline for Jamaica's most vulnerable prisoners seeking rehabilitation, women facing abuse, children in conflict, and individuals with disabilities fighting for recognition. Stand Up for Jamaica isn't about charity, it's about dignity. It's about understanding that every uh, human, regardless, and I just want to stop right there. Let me just check something. I just, yes, Stand Up for Justice is, yeah, Stand Up for Jamaica is about charity, it's about dignity, it's about understanding that every human, regardless of their past, deserves a second chance. With rehabilitation programs that have transformed illiterate inmates into CSEC graduates, Gulliver is rewriting the narratives of punishment and redemption. Today, we dive deep into a mission that challenges societal stigmas, confronts systemic barriers, and believes in fundamental right of every individual to rebuild, reconnect, and reclaim their humanity. This is more than just an interview. This is a conversation about hope, resilience, and the unbreakable spirit of human potential. Dialogue that matters. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be joined shortly with Miss Carla Gullotta. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm just going to be joined by Miss Maria Carla Gullotta. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, and I am so emotional for the striking introduction that you did to me.
well, well,
Thank you
well,
very much.
you got to do your research. You know what I'm trying to say, Maria. And it's really a pleasure having you here tonight to have this discussion, because I believe that while everything is happening in Jamaica on the rock, we have to also dig into other issues which sometimes get missing along the way with all the political rigmarole. You know what I'm trying to say? Yes.
Right.
you know.
I know it is interfering with everything we try to do. So,
Yes. Yes. But tell me, tell me, what are you drinking? Is this talking sip Saturday night? What are you drinking tonight?
should I really tell you? I don't know if it is. I hope children went to sleep, right?
Yeah, they're going to sleep.
I am drinking a little bit of Appleton rum. I
Okay.
feel cold. I
Yes.
have a flu. In Italy, it's very cold, and I don't get used to that because I live in Jamaica. And so
Yes.
I decided to help myself.
Yes. Yes. Now tell me, now tell me, what is it that took you from Italy to Jamaica?
Good question. Um, I was working in Italy as a social worker with people with challenges, drugs addicted, youth at risk, and people living in fragile communities. That was my job.
Yes.
And I also had a passion, which has nothing to do with that, which was reggae music. I was loving reggae music to the max.
Yes.
So I was writing about reggae on a couple of newspapers, magazines. I wrote a couple of books until one day my newspaper sent me to a reggae festival which was Rototom Sunsplash. And
Yes.
I had a sort of vision because that festival was lasting a week.
Mm.
It had like 200,000 people in a peaceful community in a beautiful park, and people were coming from all over the world, share the love of reggae music, but also do things along the week, not only go to the show. There was a reggae university, there were drumming classes,
Yes.
there were workshops with artists from Jamaica. There was all sorts of things. And they were asking me to write about it, and I did it.
Mm.
And then Rototom was asking me if I wanted to become one of their partners
Mm.
for visibility, for media house, for backstage. And I did it for 11 years. So
Yes.
I was starting to travel up and down with Jamaica to book artists, to do jingles, to prepare their promotion. And after some times, I felt that I was belonging to Jamaica somehow more than to Italy for the way how Jamaicans deal with life. It's a positive way. They don't complain every 2 minutes.
Mm.
They don't cry about everything. It was a way to pass through life with a small luggage. I
Yes.
loved it. So I decided to transfer myself and relocate myself
Mm.
from Rome to Port Antonio in
Okay.
Jamaica.
Mm.
I don't regret it. It was 34 years ago, and it was my trip to something different. But when I was settling in Jamaica, I realized that apart reggae music, my skill could
Yes.
serve my new country because
Yes.
I was watching around, I was trying to learn. You come from a different place, so you have to be humble and try to learn how
Yes.
another place will deal with you and you will deal with it.
Mm.
And then I realized that there was kind of a need for a lot of things which I could try to do.
Yeah.
So I went back to all the reggae festivals in Europe and I was telling them, okay, you buy reggae music, you buy Jamaican artists, what do
Yes.
you give back to Jamaica? And
Mm.
everybody was telling me that I was not so wrong. And with that funds, I decided to start to create an NGO because
Yes.
I've been working for Amnesty International before.
Okay.
I was the coordinator for Jamaica. Amnesty is a great organization, but they only
Yes.
do advocacy. And my idea was advocacy is fine, but you have to respond to people need right away.
Yeah.
So my idea was I want an NGO or a charity, call it as you want, that somehow will advocate for changes, but also somehow will answer to people need today.
Mm.
So reggae people were supporting it for some times. I start stand up for Jamaica in 2002. I
Yes.
formalized it in 2007. It became an NGO and a charity.
Mm.
And our mandate is a double mandate. Yes, we advocate. We want to see changes, political changes, legislative changes, cultural changes. But I also don't want to send back anybody coming to my office
Yes.
because he need or she need something. So
Yes.
our mandate is we work on the ground
Because
with
what I
projects.
yeah, because one of the four areas which I was looking at was rehabilitation in correctional centers, vocational training for women suffering from gender-based violence, national advocacy for better care for people suffering from mental illness, and intervention in schools. So, would you say that you're part of the civil society, you know, that's seeking to make changes on the ground in Jamaica?
Well, civil society groups are not so many,
Yes.
and we struggle a lot. We struggle for many different reasons. One, the kind of huge variety of things which need to be addressed. You
Mm,
mentioned those people which are the most fragile and they don't have anybody representing them. They don't
mm,
have any voice. They don't have any possibility to be listen, and also they don't have any access to justice. So
yes,
the human rights groups in Jamaica lobby all together. We are working as a network, and each one of us is contributing with what I can do, what you can do, what we can do all together.
yes,
The idea is let's decide what each group can do professionally.
mm,
I assist children, you assist women, you assist prisoners, you assist mentally ill, etc.
yes,
But then we lobby all together when we decide and we choose one of the items that for us is a priority. So
yes,
if we decided, for example, that police killing is a priority, we work on it all together. If
mm,
we decide that children rights is a priority, we work on it all together.
mm,
We work together, and in the same time each one of us take a task. We cannot take the whole of them.
yes.
So it's better and wise if each one of us get more professional in order to be able to give answers. I love that. I really
Yeah.
love it because it's a permanent partnership. It's a way to support each other, and also it's a way to offer a better service.
One of the things that I was looking at, and it's the whole aspect regarding the prison service, for argument's sake, and the correctional area. You know, they talk about, like, for arguments. Okay, you're into reintegration, and then you're seeing that you sort of asking for more prison. You wanted more prison, and I was saying, did you say that when David Cameron came to Jamaica?
All right, let me take it from the very beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
When where I was mentioning before that each one of us tried to get a sort of portfolio, there was
Mm,
a portfolio which was not popular at all, and it was prisons.
mm,
Jamaica is not a peaceful country, so there is very little sympathy towards those which are in conflict with the law.
yeah,
The idea is okay, punish them, throw away the key, and forget
yes,
about those. But it's a blind corner because
mm,
those people, which is quite an amount of people, are going back to society, are going back to their families. So when there was a proposal why stand up is not starting to work with correctional services, I went to the prisons, all of them, and
yes,
tried to figure out how it was.
mm,
I discovered something different from perception, right? First of all, the prisons are horrible in Jamaica. Most of
yes,
them are old fort from slavery time. So infrastructure are a disaster. They're basically falling apart. So the answer for those which are detained is like there might be 20 showers for 1,200 inmates.
mm,
Secondly, I saw the fact that the idea that somebody was in prison for 30 years was happening very seldomly. Most of the people are detained for 2, 3, 5, 6 years.
yes,
So it's a shorter time. So what I was thinking is, why don't we use serving time as building time?
yes,
Using that time to make the person, first of all, admit that they did something wrong. Because you don't
yeah.
forget that
Mm.
there are victims, right? There
I,
are victims.
I want to stop you there for a bit. There's something you mentioned earlier about the purpose of why the prisons were made in the first instance, and the and I just this is a part of your literature. The country's two main prisons, Tower Street Adult Correctional Center and St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center, which were originally built as forts for slaves, you know, are not
Right.
only battering severe infrastructural issues, but overcrowding. Tower Street can hold up to 800 inmates, but they have over 1,700. And
Yeah.
St. Catherine should only be housing 700 inmates, but it is housing more than 1,000. You know, infrastructure is very poor, and it's not enough to accommodate all the prisoners. That
That
is,
is
I just,
absolutely
yeah,
true.
yes,
That is absolutely true. And this is one of the things which is interfering to the max to rehabilitation activities. Let me give an example.
yes,
The activity, well, rehabilitation is the idea to send back to society somebody which
yes,
is a better man.
yes,
I think Jackie Wood was singing that song, right?
yeah,
And so, what do we do along their serving times? You can lock them up and let them get bad, frustrated, aggressive, bad-minded, and send them back worse than what they were. But you can also
mm,
go to the different through a different avenue, building a second chance. So that is translated to schools. We
mm,
have schools in all institutions from remedial level to CXC. And
yes,
since 3 years, we have a lovely, very lovely pilot experiment with the University of Commonwealth Caribbean. Can I tell you that our first badge, the pilot badge, was among the first 25 students in a batch of
mm,
690?
mm,
They all of them graduate. They all of them got the highest marks, and studying in a prison is not the
yes,
same as studying at home.
yes,
So you see that what I learned through the years is that the answer is not positive, extra positive. Whatever
yeah,
you propose, everybody want to do it. Whatever you say, let's try this, all of them endorse it. But we go back to the infrastructures.
yes,
At Tower Street, the school cannot hold more than 250 students in a
yeah,
population of 1,700. And every year we have to tell some of them, I'm sorry, I don't have space for you. It's a missing goal, right? It's a
mm,
real missing goal. That's why I advocate for another prison, but I don't want a maximum security. I want a prison which is built with modern idea to work on rehab, right? So what it is happening now, we have quite an amount of people on rehab, and I want to mention numbers. Numbers are very
mm,
important.
yes,
Out of 3 people leaving the institutions, according to DCS and according to the police, one is coming back, reoffending. Out of those which are on rehab, nobody, almost
mm,
nobody. Last year we
mm,
had 5 in a population of 1,000. So it works. It
mm,
works because they are happy to do it. But then the second step is what's happening to those which are leaving the institution with 5 CXC subjects, a diploma in computer, a
yes,
diploma from art. As soon as they mention that they come from a prison, the stigma is very high. And the
yeah,
frustration is very high too. Because if you are a bad man and you stay as a bad man, okay. But
mm,
if you are making a
waste,
difference,
yes,
yeah, you went along the path, etc., you have some expectations. So, first of all, we are trying to help them to find a job. Second thing, we are advocating to change the policy, which is stating that agencies from the government cannot employ an ex-inmate. That is a foolishness. Ministry
right,
of Security. Ministry of Security is the major defendant for rehabilitation, right? Because officially they
mm.
promote rehabilitation. Ministry of Security should take some of them in to show that rehabilitation is real.
So what?
My
So Yeah. So what you're actually saying is that they go into prison, okay, for crimes that they have done. You are doing some work with them to get them to reintegrate and rehabilitate. They're doing their CSCs, CXCs, and all those sort of things, coming out successful. But the fact that they went to prison, and that is mentioned when it comes on to address also, because you got to declare these things, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um, it
yeah.
becomes a stigma and it blocks them. So this is it a cycle of defeat then. Have you got cases whereby these same persons who actually turn out very well with their sixties actually turn back to crime because of the lack of support that they get from the society?
Just a few.
Just a
They
few.
don't want to go back. They don't want to go back because they
Yes.
know what they did, they know what they learned, so they try their
Mm,
very best. So,
yes.
as a collateral, we are doing some things. One, I employ them. I have several of them working with us. It's
Mm,
not that we have thousands of people, but we have 30 people, and among the 30 people working with me, 10 are ex-inmates, and they do very well.
yes.
Especially the ones which are working for the prison projects, because they have a deep knowledge where to go fishing, what to do, what is successful, what is not. So their
Yes.
expertise is highly appreciated. I employ some more of them, which is very interesting, on violence prevention,
Yes.
youth at risk. I send them to the school, I send them to talk to youth, I send them to those
Yes.
which are at risk. Nobody better than them can tell them what it might happen if
If
they
you
go
do.
that way. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And it's
Yes.
very successful. They do well. I employ also some of them in restorative justice because some of those ex-inmates they went and left the prisons because of the restorative justice.
Yes.
So they know the process, and I use them in volatile communities where they try to bring peace, bring healing,
Yes.
especially in two matters, family matters and gang matters.
Yeah.
They do a very good job.
Mm. And what would you say, is society warming up to this, or is society still have that strong stigma to it? Uh, it,
The stigma is there. I don't want to tell
mm,
lies. The
mm,
stigma is there, but some of them they do it, and they got through. Last year, I want to give an example. Last year, one of our ex-inmates graduated at the law school, and he became an attorney.
yes.
He was inviting the all of us. We went there, emotional day. Everybody who was crying, who was screaming, etc.
Mm, mm,
And he was standing on the podium, and he was saying, "I am an ex-inmate. I don't feel fear to tell you. I thank you. Stand up, and I promise that every year I will take 4 cases for pro bonus
okay.
in order to." So you give and take,
Yes.
but you
Yes.
have to build
Yes.
a sort of trust, which is not very easy. And the other thing that we are trying to do is to develop something which is called entrepreneurship. If
Entrepreneurship. Yes. Mm,
yeah, if I cannot apply for a job, we prepare them for activities like a computer office, so
yes.
that they can go there and use. But what we require is, I don't care where you're coming from, you need to be professional. I give
Yes.
you the second chance, but there is no discount. You have to do a good job, and they do
There-
it.
there's a video. There's a video I saw of a gentleman talking about wanting to create have some sort of what should I say, uh spicy and do food and things like that. That's what he
I
was
don't
saying.
know. Maybe could
Yeah,
be one of the many
I
activities that they
I
try to
I, I,
generate
I
not to
think
go back to prison.
yeah,
Hey,
I think it was
nobody
on the
wants to go
GoFundMe.
back
I
to a
think
play. Nobody.
yeah, I think it
Can
was
I
on the
suggest
GoFundMe.
you?
Yes,
Can I suggest you something? There is a
yeah,
movie. which is called Songs of Redemption. He
Yes.
won tons of awards. I don't know why. It's a beautiful movie, very strong. Like if you watch that movie, you prepare yourself to an emotional
Mm,
reaction. And he showed the lives, and he showed the desperation, but he also showed the hopes. And he also shows the fact that among the projects, I decided to have a music project. Jamaicans have a big talent for music. So
mm,
why we should not use that talent to generate sound engineer, music technician? They do well. And
yes.
most of them, also thanks to the fact that I know people from the reggae area, they got a
Mm,
job.
mm,
They work in a with a sound system. One or two are elements of famous bands, which I cannot mention. Some of them work with big artists. So you use passion,
yes.
you use talent, and you translate talent to action.
Yeah.
Job. So music lab are very nice.
Yes, yes. The other bit also, as we move on from the prison bit there, and it's great work that you're doing there, and I hope it picks up. And I like the bit about entrepreneurs. They always say that if the doors close, you create the
You
door.
open another one.
Yes, if there's no chair, create the chair. If there's no table, create the table. You know, I'm trying to say,
Exactly.
and who knows, these same persons become great entrepreneurs, and they become great employers also for the future of tomorrow. Um, the disability rights progress. How do you assess
Before
Jamaica?
you pass,
Yes,
go
go on.
from there to the next
Yes, please.
program.
Yes, please.
Can you please remember that they have families? When they go back home, the
Mm,
families need financial support. They
yes.
have to pay rent, they have to send the children to school, XYZ. So it is really something which is extremely needed. Otherwise, you send them back where they're coming from, even if they do not want to do it.
I saw a video some on social media. Sometimes he got some crazy video, but there's this guy, and what he did was um, post bail for two persons, and the persons that he post bail for said, "Listen, I've nowhere to go. Send me back." He said, "I need to go back into prison because there's no place for me to go." It's a reality, isn't it? There's no place
Yeah,
for them to
it
go.
is.
So yeah.
Especially for those which are
Mm,
detained for a long time. They
yes.
feel fear. We have a special program for those in the last 8 months before they leave. They don't know anything. They feel even fear to cross the road
Mm,
because they never know how much traffic has been developed in the last 30 years. They don't know where to
yes.
go. They don't have a house. They don't have a family. So
Yes.
we really have to do a post
Yes.
release program.
If I go back to your mission statement, and your mission statement talks about you know minorities, target individuals, incarcerated individuals, suffering from abuse, suffering from mental health issues, LGBTQ, and refugees. And if I go to the bit about disabilities right progress, and how do you assess Jamaica's implementation in the 2014 Disabilities Act, and what's specific legislative challenges are needed to improve the lives of persons with disabilities? How is that faring in Jamaica? Disabilities factor.
Is very much on paper and it has not fully translated to action. This
It's
is
just on
why
paper,
since
yeah. Mm,
since uh, the end of 2023 we decided to take also that item among something which need to be addressed. Just
yeah.
let me give you an example. I met with the Association of Blind, I met with the Association of Deaf, I met with the Association of Physical Disabled.
Mm,
First of all, there is no way for most of those which are physically
mm,
unable to access a bank, to access an office, because there is nothing for them unless somebody chair, take them in your arms and carry them, which is really, really difficult. But when I was in the conversation of teachers, for example, they told me how difficult it is for them, first of all, to get education.
Yes.
There is one school all over Jamaica which is specific for them. The other ones are in the education system, the general education system. But who is taking care of them? Who is
Yes.
going to take care of the special needs?
Special
So
needs. Yeah.
most of them, yeah, most of them fail before getting a diploma because
Mm.
they don't have the possibility to study. Secondly, the other thing which I, by the way, I never thought about is how difficult is technology. One of the president of the Blind Association, Mr. Harris, told me, if I want to go to an ATM, I cannot do it because who is gonna help me to click the pin? There is no
And is there not, okay, I think
helper.
we're freezing Maria. I don't know the Wi-Fi. You're not in Jamaica, isn't it? You're not using Flow or Digicel.
No, I'm not.
I'm just,
But
I'm
it
just
looks like European are not.
you were just having a little slight freeze there. Uh, in regards to the cash points or so, are you trying to say that on the pads it is not sort of blind sensitive or so? They got these things on them.
No. If you go to an
Uh,
ATM, unless you have somebody with you and you have to share the pin for that person, you cannot
yes.
withdraw any cash. So that means,
Mm,
first of all, that you have to trust 250% the other person. Secondly, that you are heavily discriminated. In other countries, there is a little button
yes.
in the ATM machine where you can use vocal. So you
Yes.
don't digit, you say it.
Mm,
In Jamaica, apart NCB Bank, there is nowhere. So if they want to use a computer, how do they use a computer if there is no special provision for them
yeah.
to?
Mm,
So I mean, it's one plus one plus one. But what I want to explain and I want to say is that generally the disability is considered another segment of the society to be left behind. There is not much sympathy.
really.
No.
And
Officially they say, "Oh, I'm sorry." But then what do you set in place?
who's the
I
minister?
am totally
Who's it?
against those
Yeah.
which are making big speeches and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." If you are
Yeah.
sorry, you try to do something and make a change.
Who's the minister for that? Who's it? Is it Babsy Grange? Who's the minister
There
for
is more
children?
than one minister because it depends where do you education ministry is one. Because in the
Yeah.
schools there were some schools of hope which were specifically for disabled, but most of them have been closed before COVID and none of them has reopened. There is
Wow.
only one school for the blind, there is only one school for the deaf. But in the general schools, for example, very seldomly you find somebody which is a specific teacher which is trying to fill up the gaps to
Yes.
allow the student. And also, other students are not particularly patient with people who are disabled. Imagine somebody which
Mm,
is mentally disabled,
yeah.
an autistic little boy, a schizophrenic little boy, they laugh at him. So
And
how
yeah.
he
Yeah. And what sort of immediate sort of intervention do you sort of recommend to enhance the access and support for children with these disabilities in the primary
first
and
of all
secondary? Mm,
introduce in the education system some teachers which are specifically trained according to the handicap, right?
yeah.
And according to that handicap to distribute the teachers in the Jamaican schools and allow the students to exercise their right of education. Secondly, physical barriers which are
Yes.
impeding people to enter in a place, to reach an office, to reach a bank, etc. And thirdly, as it happens in a lot of countries, to guarantee a percentage among those which get employed. Like,
Mm,
let's say XYZ employ 20 people,
yeah,
5% is
yeah,
dedicated to those which have a disability, according to what they can do.
yeah. Because I'm seeing also the human rights aspect of it, the human rights challenges about it,
Right?
in the fact that this is the part of the human rights which has been infringed on, isn't it?
That's
And that's
why,
what
you see,
comes in, yeah. Mm,
at the end, the circle is always the same. When I talk, we talk about inclusion, we talk about fight discrimination, is affecting so many fragile people. Can be disabled, can be ex-inmates, can be women, can be children, can be homeless. So the full picture is to change the approach for a more inclusive society, which is recognizing the dignity of every
yeah,
human being without any form of exclusion.
yeah. What would you consider in Jamaica at present one of the strongest human rights challenge currently facing Jamaica? What do you see as the strongest human rights challenges, and how is Stand Up Jamaica is seeking to address that?
Access to justice.
Access to justice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You want some examples?
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah.
Okay. Access to justice is general dramatic because
Yeah.
the Ministry of Justice, the courthouses are moving very slow. There are cases which can go on for 8 years, 9 years, one hearing, second hearing, postpone for next 8 months, postpone for a year, etc. We have people which are incarcerated, and we have attorneys working. Forgive me for the flu. We have
That's okay.
attorneys which are working with them, right? We have to suggest those which have a short sentence not to appeal, because
Mm.
the time frame of an appeal can be longer than the sentence itself.
Wow.
So, yeah, if you have a very long sentence, you appeal, there is no risk. But if you have 18 months, 2 years, most probably you will be detained for a time frame which is longer than your sentence. So we do not encourage those with a short sentence to appeal. Why?
Yeah.
Secondly, we discover in 2018 in our work at the correctional services that there were 340 mentally ill detained since 30 and odd years. We have to thank you, Indecom, for that report, and we have to thank you, Terence Williams, for bringing this to light. We
Mm.
discovered that people were detained for 30 years and more without a trial. They
We don't.
never went to court.
Wow.
No, no, because a mentally ill cannot
Articulate for themselves.
advocate, right?
Yes.
So
Mm.
you need somebody which is representing you. Can be an attorney or can be a family member. Attorneys, who's gonna select an attorney for somebody which has no money?
Can I stop you right there quickly? I'm in the UK here, and I once worked at the official solicitor's office in the UK. I'm a lawyer, and the official solicitor office represent persons who are mentally challenged. If anything, so once someone is mentally challenged or having issues with their cognitive, where there's a certificate of incapacity which is being assessed by a psychologist, and then once that person is deemed to be don't have the capacity to instruct even solicitors or capacity to represent themselves, if anything, the official solicitor kicks in, you know and represent such persons, and and what you're saying to me is that at presently in Jamaica, it is difficult for persons who are finding themselves in that situation to have a somewhat of a official solicitor, somebody, some when I say somebody, some sort of organization that is deemed to represent them. You're saying that is no.
This is what we are trying to do now. We
Yeah.
have been putting together a team of attorneys, which I rate because they work for pro bono and they are the best attorneys I can think about.
Yeah.
And we try to get them out. But in the same time, the advocacy is extremely much needed because
Yeah.
if I take out somebody from the prison and I don't change the system which is sending
Mm.
somebody to jail, if you are not fit to plead, right? To advocate for yourself. Why?
Yes.
You are fit to plead, to pay for something that you don't really understand fully. So, what we are
Yes.
doing is two things: get them out little by little, but on the other hand, make sure that the legislative frame is gonna change and nobody else will be detained. Because somebody which is mental should be cured, not punished. Somebody
Yes.
which has a mental challenge should be assessed once he or she is in conflict with the law and find a way out, another avenue, which is not a prison. Is not a prison at all. You cannot detain somebody which
Yeah.
is not fully aware about what he's doing. And you cannot
Yeah.
detain for 30 years, 30, without a
Yes.
trial. That's the most striking infringement of
So
human
can
rights. I can.
so can I then ask you this question then? In light of the major debates which are going around regarding the Privy Council, which is far fetched, and the Caribbean Court of Justice, which is closer, uh, and persons who have their human rights infringed, those persons who are mentally challenged, really and truly, they should be having some sort of recompense, by going to the final court of appeal. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
I
do you do?
totally agree with you.
But do you think I sort of digress a bit there by saying, but do you think Jamaica should move away from the Privy Council and be closer with the Caribbean Court of Justice, or so to bring the justice a bit closer? If we're finding us, because you're saying to me, this is what you're saying to me. You're saying to me, if someone has 18 years, right? 18 years, and they're going to do an appeal. That appeal may take another 18 years or so. So it doesn't make sense. Is it because of the far fetched getting justice from a privy council or to a Caribbean court of justice or so? Eh,
You are perfectly right.
Yeah,
I think Jamaica should decide if they still want to be a colonial country or they want to fight for their total, full independence,
mm,
which is a constitutional matter, but is also a matter about depending from the Privy Council for some cases which are brought in front of them. Why Jamaica should go to the Privy Council? I think Jamaica should
mm,
deal with the Caribbean Court of Justice and try to find a different instrument which is fully
mm,
recognizing that Jamaica does not need somebody above them to tell them what to do. Excuse me if I am so
yeah,
frank, right?
yeah, yeah,
So that is something which is absolutely needed. I think that some steps have been moving towards that. But I also think that if we are looking back at this story of the mental illness, etc., that we have to recognize that a different approach to mental illness in general,
mm,
assessment, early detention, go to the schools, find out when somebody has a sign of mental challenges, that can ease off the pressure quite enough before making them becoming prisoners because they are totally alone and nobody has been taking care of their pathology.
yes,
This is why I want to mention something which is very dear to me. 2 years ago, I decided, even if I was overwhelmed, to become the director of a mentally ill and homeless shelter. I
Yes.
thought, no, I cannot manage it. But then I was thinking, if I have a campaign which is ongoing on mental illness, I need to verify if my vision is possible or it's a madness, it's a dream.
Mm.
So I transform that shelter in a pilot experiment where, for the very first time in history, we introduce rehabilitation. So our residents there, and then I confess, I fell in love because
Mm.
I saw what was happening. uh, our residents were like fresh vegetables sitting on a chair, one injection per month. That's
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Well, after 2 years now, they go to school. Three of them got a diploma. Five of them are going to work. We
Yes.
raise chicken, goat, and rabbits. They do craft. We try to sell the craft because we are always have a financial crisis because the money is not enough, and
Yes.
every 4 weeks we're not sure if we can put food on the
Mm.
table. But it is my password and my passport to
Yes.
show that another avenue is possible.
Yes.
Those people which have mental challenges, not the all of them, but there is quite an amount of people which can be somehow rehabilitated. Why not? Let's do
Mm.
it. It's beautiful, you know. I don't know if after this program somebody will be interested to look at it,
Well,
but
well, yeah. No,
go to
go
our
ahead.
pages
Yeah.
and you
Well,
will see some pictures
yeah.
where you see the all of them doing yoga, dancing, painting, taking care of the chicken.
Mm.
Those are those people which have show that, you know,
Yeah.
we can.
Y-
We
y-
can.
Yeah. One other question I wanted to ask you as we're wrapping up soon is about how can the diaspora or people overseas Jamaica, because one of the things that Jamaicans always like to do is to assist on something on the ground, where they believe that the money is actually going to work and touch the lives of individual. I know you got the GoFundMe, which is out there, and what I'll do, I'll put up the GoFundMe details there, which is a GoFundMe right there, as well. How can people then help?
They can help a lot. First of all, the diaspora. I love the diaspora people. I
Mm,
work with a lot of them. Jamaicans are proud to be Jamaican. Even if they are in Florida or in Massachusetts, they still feel like Jamaicans. So I think that their presence is very important, not only financially,
yes.
but also because they got an experience living abroad, so they know they
Mm,
carry their experience back to their country and they love Jamaica. This is
mm,
not happening in most of the countries. Somebody goes away, goes away. Jamaicans go away, but they remain strongly Jamaicans, which is beautiful.
mm,
And also, they are very powerful because they want to send back. But I think they have the right to know exactly if
mm,
they decided to donate what we do with their money. If I
mm.
donate to somebody, I don't want to donate and maybe somebody take my money.
You know,
We
um,
ask donors
mm.
you wanna to what do you want to and we send them a feedback.
Yes, yes. The other day, and just show you about the whole thing, because the whole mental health issue is a very strong issue, which is in the UK here, for argument's sake, and even persons who are challenged mentally, physically. The other day, there was a video which was posted on some sites. We got these community sites around the UK, and one video was actually posted of this gentleman being pulled by his carer, you know, and the way he was pulled by the carer, it wasn't really appreciated by a lot of people, and they posted it, and they said
Oh,
the carer should not be pulling the gentleman like that, and now it's on some bigger sites, and they say it's got to be investigated. So you're seeing society coming out even though the person is being taken care of by a carer, but people are upset by the way how the carer was treating the person at the scene. And there's been a lot of outcry in regards to that. So it's not like, uh, the mentally challenged persons are, oh, can't bother with them. The society look out for them, for persons who are mentally challenged in the UK. And I sense what you're saying is that it needs to be driven home to Jamaicans not to see these persons as drip drabs or leftovers, but they should be taken care of by the state and by people. That's your drive, isn't it? Um,
Totally
'Cause-
agree with you.
Mm,
I also want to see. I'm not sure about UK because I don't have a big experience in UK,
yes,
right? But in Jamaica, for example, mental illness goes very much hand in hand with homelessness because it is, well, that's our experience develop along the years. Something happen
mm,
in people life.
yeah,
Can be a crisis, can be a loss, can be a death, can be a breakdown. They
mm,
do not have anybody where they can go and say, help me to stand up. So little by little what happened? They lose their job, they lose the house, they lose the family, and they end up sitting on the roadside.
mm,
I would love to see you guys walk through downtown Kingston and you will find thousands sitting on the roadside waiting for a meal.
yeah,
So, homeless, mentally ill, those two categories, they very much go together because it's a crisis and the fact that nobody was able to answer to that crisis
yeah.
and find a little solution.
Y-
Uh, we had one at our office 2 years ago which was always begging for food. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
300J, 200J, until one day I told him, can you help me to carry some
yeah,
boxes? And he said, okay. So he came up with some books and I gave him a tip. And I told him, look here, tomorrow I need some more help. He came back. And then some days after, the lady which was cleaning the office disappeared. So I was asking, Damian, would you like
mm,
to work to clean the office? He said, yes, I would love it. But you
mm,
have to allow me to use the bathroom to wash myself because I don't
yes,
have anywhere. So I said,
yeah,
no problem. We bought a couple of towels and he was cleaning. Then he was cleaning downstairs the next office. Then one day I was sitting in front of the computer and I was struggling with something called QuickBooks because I'm not so technology. He was behind me and he told me, say, hey, that's not right. You should not do like this. So
mm,
I was looking at him. I said, Damian, how you know that? I discovered his life. He
yes,
was working in a bank. They went for a Sunday trip. They had an accident. His wife and the two children died.
mm.
And he lost completely control of his life. So we work on him. Damian today is in New York in jacket and tie.
Can I
Is
just, yeah, can I just ask
but
you this?
he's only one.
Yeah, can I just ask you this question? There's a colleague also who is on Instagram. Won't mention her name, but during the COVID period, I was doing a lot of these shows, and they were talking about the whole aspect of mental health in society. And the mental health in society is not just the persons that we see as mentally challenged. That is obvious. But is it like in society, is it a lot with persons not knowing that they have mental challenges?
Yeah,
Mm,
because they didn't reach that border yet. But they start to show some sign of uneasy, depression, all this
mm,
kind of stuff. But
mm,
where do they go? There should be a shoulder for them, you know. There should be a shoulder. That's why I'm so passionate with the story of mental illness and homelessness. Because it's affecting thousands of people, could be prevented, should be assessed on
yeah,
early stage before becoming such a drama,
mm,
and it could avoid for all those people to end up the phenom, desperados, nobody's taking care of them. And I don't believe too much in these shelters. Where do they go? They go for the night. They
Yeah,
go, sleep, and the following morning are back in the
back
street.
out again.
That's not.
Do you believe that the present political climate also contributes to these sort of things? Because one of the things, as in my opening, we talk about the political charge atmosphere in JA, whereby persons are not able to see beyond a color to a certain extent when certain things are so blatantly obvious. This is wrong. This can't be right. I'm a clean prime minister. You know what I'm trying to say? You cannot see beyond the green or the orange to a certain extent.
It's not that you cannot see, you don't want to
You
see
don't want
it.
to see. Mm,
Right. I think that it's very easy to ignore some things which are not comfortable and
yes,
make sure that you have your success and your votes and your this and that. And I think Jamaica is suffering a lot.
yes,
I'm not going to the political arena, right? I can't because I'm a
yes,
human rights defender.
yes, yes,
But
yes.
what I learned through the years, Jamaica could have done much, much more
Mm,
if
mm,
there was a conscience, if there was the famous accountability. I don't like to call it accountability, I call it honesty, right?
yes,
To be responsible for your people, to accept the fact that you are leading the country for
yes,
the welfare of the people in your country. Show
yes,
some love, no man.
yes. And in wrapping, the stand up for Jamaica. Of course, you're composed of 26 person working on the ground, five working at main office, and volunteers. Staff specifically trained according to all the matters, and recognize the value of partners donors, which allows European Union, CARICOM, Sandals, Canadian Eye Commission, or so like that. In closing, tell us the practical ways uh, that people can help from this. What are the call to action? Of course, I have the email address, which is there, the telephone number to reach out to yourself, the website, which is there. So, ladies and gentlemen, people, you can reach out to Stand Up for Jamaica in Jamaica as well. Um, tell us how practical ways that persons can help and point them to yourself, Carla.
Silburn,
Mhm.
allow me to say that this is the part which I hate the most because
Yes,
I feel like a beggar, right?
yes,
But if I don't beg, I stop the projects.
yes,
So what should I do? We are happy because we receive funds from some agencies, etc. But if the funds for any reason stop, we stop. If, for example, next year I want to increase the gender based violence project because we are training women to get a job.
yes,
I am very practical. Most of them, we work with them since 11 years, and in my database, there is written women stay in an abusive relationship because they're not financially independent.
right.
So I don't want to preach on the left and on the right. I give them an education and a professional skill. And then I give them a portfolio of items to start their job. And then I draft a business card for them to advertise their job. All of
Yes,
them are working. All of them. But if I next year I don't get the funds for them, what am I gonna do? So
mm,
we go back to the story. I hate to ask, I have to do it. And I
mm,
do it. So we have agencies where we apply for grants on the left and on the right. No funds, no projects.
yes,
Funds, better projects. In this moment, you give me the opportunity to mention the GoFundMe for the homeless shelter.
yes,
I mention it.
yes,
It's gonna be Christmas. We are going to have almost 100 residents. I want to make sure that they have a Christmas too. They have a
yes,
lunch, they have a present, they have a special day, we
yes,
have some activities. But I want to be sure that apart a special day, all the people which are training them I don't need to fire them.
Mm. Yeah, no, no, that is. They say if you don't ask, you don't get. And the
It
good.
is not very nice. Honestly, I don't
Yeah,
like it too much,
yeah,
but it's
but
part
you
of
know,
the game.
yeah, but someone has got to be the fall guy, which is yourself, at
Right.
the front person for the whole process. And my job is to facilitate um this sort of things. And because sometimes I tell you this, Carla, because I'm glad you came on, because tonight I was saying I don't know what to talk about, because I don't want to talk about Paula Llewellyn. I don't want to talk about GLP or PNP. I don't want to talk. I'm just tired. I don't want to talk
That's
about.
Paola Lewin is a
Yeah,
big Christmas gift,
yeah, yeah.
right?
I don't want to talk about none of these things. I don't want to talk about that, And I spoke to Rosemary Binder, and Rosemary, and she linked myself with it. I said, yes, that is something that I want to talk about. It may not attract a lot of persons, because people like the hype. People like the hype. People like the thing which it tickles them. But I want to get into the meat of things as much as possible. So after this, I'll post your program, this discussion on podcast, so people can listen to it, and it is there again as a tool that person can come to and help to support individuals, help to support persons who are mentally challenged, help to support persons who have disability, gender-based violence against women, and all those things, because you do a lot of work with women, isn't it? you know and that is something which is so important, that we sometimes get caught up with everything and miss out on some fundamental deep things, Carla.
I hear you. I hear you loud and
Mm,
clear, and I have to say something very simple. Maybe we are not top of the tops. Well, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
mm,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we work. We
yeah.
work for our people, and we don't want to leave them behind.
Yes.
Maybe you are not so popular because sometimes we give challenges to the political arena because
Mm,
we require justice, we require rights, we require inclusion, we require
mm,
respect and dignity. I
mm,
don't care. This is
yes.
what we like to do, this is what
Yes.
we want to do, and this is what we do.
We do. Carla Gullotta
Yes.
in Italy, Bella Pasta, Mafia. My favorite movie, which is Godfather. So yeah, so yeah,
Well, that's why I feel so comfortable in
see,
Jamaica. I'm
I've got.
coming from a country where mafia and
Yeah.
corruption are
See, I've
so
got see, I've
striking.
got my hat here,
Oh my God! Oh God!
and and I have the different ones here because I love the.
This is a real godfather. Please come to Jamaica and I show you what's happening to you.
No, no, definitely, definitely. I'm from Ocherius. I'm from Ocherius. I'm
You're
used
from
to.
Australia, yes.
My last time was there in April. I met up with Professor Rosalie. My team is Danielle, Rosalie, and Jeanette Calder. I like to support you ladies with the work that you're doing on the ground as civil society, and the challenges that you guys get, need all that sort of support as much as possible. Okay.
Thank you very much. You have to promise me that if you come to Jamaica, you see me and I show you what we do.
I know
Please.
you said Portland.
Portland is my family, and I work in Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St.
Okay.
Catherine, everywhere.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but you promise me that if you come to Jamaica, show up your face, please.
I promise you, when I come to Jamaica, not if, because I'm a yard.
When? All right.
Yeah, when I come to Jamaica, I definitely visit you, Carla.
And let
Carla,
me
listen.
say to
Yes.
those
Mm,
people which were tonight listening to the program, first
yeah.
of all, thank you. Right?
Yeah.
It's and secondly, help us to have a beautiful Christmas all together. Inclusion is the key for a better society. We are
Yeah.
looking forward for
Yeah.
that.
Thank you very much, and have a good night. 'Cause I think it's you're 1 hour you're 1 hour ahead of us in the UK.
Gone long time.
Yeah. Okay. Have a
All
good
right.
night.
Blessings from here. Yeah.
Pleasure is mine. Bye bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining tonight. And we had Miss Carla Gullotta from Stand Up for Jamaica, a very interesting um, project project in Jamaica there. Stand Up for Jamaica mission statement: human rights promotion and advocacy, defense of the most vulnerable people, advocacy for access to justice for all, promotion of inclusion, advocacy against any forms of discrimination. Mandate is specifically requiring that advocacy and work on the ground on projects towards the most vulnerable need to be complementary. Environment defense has been added in their mandate, considering that a safe environment is a fundamental right. Stand Up for Jamaica is a human rights NGO operating in Jamaica, established in 2002, registered as a non-profit company since August 30, 2011. Stand Up for Jamaica became a charity organization in 2020 with a board of 5 directors. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining tonight on Talk and Sip. As you can see, I'm keeping the shows very tight and I've been guests very concise. I'm making it very meaningful and juicy and punchy. Dialogue that matters. And of course, if you want to support, there's a GoFundMe, which is running across the screen there. You can take the details, the GoFundMe. And if you want to reach out as well to, let me just keep the GoFundMe up there. If you want to reach out to the team, there's a telephone number which is going across the screen, which is 1-876-362-4771. And the email address is carlajamaica51 at gmail.com. Website is standupforjamaica.org. Facebook, Stand Up for Jamaica. Instagram, Stand Up for Jamaica. And of course, I will join all of them as well. Okay, so have a good night and see you. As a matter of fact, have a wonderful Christmas because I don't believe I'm going to be on again before Christmas or even maybe for the New Year. I'm not too sure as yet. Have a Merry Christmas and have a wonderful New Year. And remember, resolutions are close to procrastination because if you can do something today, don't put it off for tomorrow. But if you put it off for tomorrow, then it is close to procrastination. Sorry, don't rain on your thunder, but that's the reality as well. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good night and God bless you.